You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you're pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm Mr. Bennett. I might be going solo. I'm waiting for some of the guys to show up. I know Shawnee's got the night off, but certainly good to have you guys with us as we chop it up on what's going on in the world of sports. Certainly when you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly as you come in, really appreciate you guys, for all the support that you certainly give us. So consider, certainly become a subscriber to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and certainly anything that you want to give to the Black Man Unfiltered Network via Cash App or Super Chat, you can certainly give that Cash App, Black Man Unfiltered. Scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you can certainly give there, as well as consider dropping a Super Chat to the channel. And certainly anything that you want to give myself or any of our co-hosts, we greatly appreciate any support that you give us, certainly in this space here. So again, good to have you guys with us as we're pretty much nearing the end of December and the new year. So again, a lot of things that are going on. We got NFL playoffs, we got college football playoffs about to commence. Got a big announcement in boxing, which I hope that my man Mandrell, he'll show up in the second half of the show. We can talk about boxing a little bit, and then certainly the legacy of Bud Crawford, who announced his retirement. And, so again, a lot of things that are going on in the world of sports. But again, didn't want to hold you guys up. I know you guys really support us. So I just wanted to kind of get the show started, and let's get this thing underway. So as always is what we've been doing, certainly through this NFL 2025 NFL season. I want to start with a recap, just a high-level view of what we've been seeing so far in the NFL. So clearly, certainly certain lines are becoming defined, and you still have some very hotly contested races that are going on, starting in the AFC, which you seem like in New England, they were sort of like a runaway. Buffalo, they were kind of struggling, kind of a bit inconsistent, but they're only a game out of first place. And so, certainly they'll be battling New England. They had a big win, certainly against those guys to close within a game of them. So that's certainly tight. The AFC North, certainly between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, it seems like it always comes down to those two teams. And certainly while Pittsburgh clearly has the edge at this point, they have to, certainly it'd be in their best interest if they went out. Certainly they got a big game with Detroit that's going to be coming up soon. So, definitely, it's going to be a really close race. The AFC South, again, another one. Who's going to win that one? We're going to talk about that tonight as well. Who's going to win that race? And, Houston and Jacksonville, they'll be battling. I think Indiana, I think they gave it a nice college try. Shout out to Grandpa Rivers, who certainly came out and certainly gave a brave effort against the Seahawks. Certainly a contending team, but I don't know if Indiana's going to be able to make it. And then in the West, you see, the Denver Broncos continue to win. Certainly they're winning ugly, but they're winning. So sometimes you just have those years when they're out. The Chargers are still a contention. And unfortunately, we have to talk about the swan song for the Kansas City Chiefs, the end of a dynasty. And, so again, lots going on there. If we look over on the NFC side, seems like the Philly, they got back on their winning ways, and they were able to reestablish themselves a little bit. And, certainly appreciate, shout out to Mama Two Boys. Appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you for coming through. We appreciate you stopping through. But on the NFC side, like I said, Philadelphia, they seem to certainly right the ship. And but now in the NFC South, again, I got to give some shout out to BMU's team. Shout out to the New Orleans Saints, even though they don't seem to be going anywhere this year, but they've seemed to find a groove. They've certainly been a thorn in the side of both Tampa Bay and Carolina. And certainly that's a hotly contested race. Just when you thought that Tampa Bay Bucks, their ship is sinking, but Carolina squandered a great opportunity to really separate themselves and capture the division. So that's going to kind of come down to the wire between those two teams. Green Bay, again, a bad loss in Denver. They had a lot of opportunities to win that game. But Chicago Bears, shout out to Chicago Bears. Shout out to my guy, Hank in the basement. We all know he's a huge Chicago Bear fan, and he's the number one Caleb Williams fan. So, again, I got to give him a shout-out as well. Detroit, again, key game coming up, both Pitt and Detroit 8-6. We're going to talk about that game and who pulls that one out. And then it seems like in the West, you have that's probably the most, arguably the strongest division in the NFL this year. Again, two teams sit atop at 11-3, but I think the Rams, they may have the advantage there in terms of the remaining schedule. We'll talk about that. And then San Francisco, a very strong wild card spot that they have, certainly some control over at this point. I think all three of those teams make it to the playoffs. But again, certainly the last 3 weeks, certainly we're going to see a lot of again highly contested games. But let's we got my man Dante, who's showing up in the building tonight, sir. What's going on with you, sir?
Oh man, nothing much. Just making it in. How's it going with you?
It is going good, sir. It is going good. I mean, I'm feeling a little bit better than I was a couple weeks ago regarding the Steelers. And it's funny how those farm like Tomlin chants kind of go away once they start winning a little bit. It's amazing how that happens.
That's how that works. But hey, I know I got my project done. I know we've been putting it off for a while, and I know Shawnee's not here. But I don't really have much of an order because I don't want to disrespect anybody.
Okay.
But just in my time, I do have because this Texas State High School Championship.
All right. So just to kind of give everybody a little, I kind of gave Dante and Shawnee an assignment because we started talking about Texas football, and we all know how strong high school football is in Texas. And we had a lot of great quarterbacks who've come out of Texas to go on to be great collegiate stars, in some cases great NFL stars. And so I wanted them to compile, and just based on experience, they don't have to go back to 1955 or whatever. I'm saying from their experience, the greatest quarterbacks that they've seen come out of the state of Texas, certainly in their lifetimes. And certainly towards the end of the show, we'll certainly have an opportunity to chat that up. But it's up to you. If you want to do that tonight, you can do that, or if you want to wait till to Shawnee comes on next week, we can kind of do it then. It's your call, however you want to do it. But you just cue me when you want to bring it in. It's up to you.
I can do it. I can do it this week just because it's fresh on my mind, and that because all the high school stuff is going, and even my it's hurt me today, but not surprised. My daughter's high school, and also the same one my younger brother went to. They won state last year, 16-0, and and the coach actually accepted a job at the local college here, UNT, as a defensive line coach. So it kind of I saw it coming because the last coach had the program going in a good track. He took that and springboarded it, and just within 4 years, he's had so many guys commit D1. He could clearly, I think he's going to be a great recruiter, and I don't be surprised if you see Ray Gates as a college coach one day. And when you listen, like, hey, I've heard of him. He coached in high school, and then he coached. That doesn't. He's got chops. He's made his chops at different big high schools here, and I wish Coach Gates all the success, man.
Gotcha. Now, high school football is over, right? Or they still have playoff games now?
No, it's this week. This week, Jerry did that. I know a lot of people get mad at him, but I love it from when I worked at the stadium. He set it up to where all the games from basically they changed the classifications. 1A football is schools with like 100-something students. That's 6-man football. It's really weird to see 6 people playing football, but it works. It's high scoring because you got so much field to cover. And they shortened it up a little bit though. But the 6-man from 1A football to 6A, which is our highest classification, all play at AT&T Stadium. It started today. I think it started. Yes, I think it might have started yesterday or today. And then on Friday and Saturday, the bigger classifications come into play. And it's a great sight to see. From these guys will never play. The guys at 1A, basically from 1A, 2A, 3A. Those guys aren't really going to college. Right. So like to come with their letterman on, their accolades, and unfortunately, when the teams are that good, somebody's going to smash the other team, and then you're going to go from being 14-1 to 14-2, or hey, we're 14-0, and then you get a loss because you just didn't see this team and they had so much talent. It's great to see the pride in those young men in those small towns. That's when you can really see the Texas high school pride there.
Gotcha. Well, let me ask you: can that be somewhat of a distraction? Because in your mind, you can say, "Wow, I get to play in this big state-of-the-art stadium and whatnot," but it's massive. But high school games are usually played in more intimate areas. I mean, the bench, you're kind of up close on the action. Can that mess with you as a player? But I'm sure back in your day, when they had Texas Stadium. The same thing.
That was the dream. That was the dream.
That's what you as a player playing. It's like, oh my gosh, it's cameras. And do you feel closer to the game because the fans are so far away from you as you're playing the game? That's got to be kind of intimidating.
Well, I would say for some, maybe the smaller schools, it may do it. But the thing is, when you got like the Allens of the world, Allen has like if you've ever, like I know Shawnee's talked about it. Allen has though that when they have those large pep rallies, they've got like 6, 7,000 students going
Right.
to one school. Now, clearly that could be multiple high schools, but because
Mhm.
of politics, to make sure all that talent is at one school, it's never changing.
Right.
And so, and Allen has a big stadium, and then you play games like I would say the year North Crowley won state. They actually played in Frisco at the Cowboys practice facility. They have high school games there. They actually have multiple schools in Frisco have a partnership with the Cowboys, so where that's where they play their high school games. So it's like you're used to, and now it's
The
smaller, but you're
familiarity.
used
Yeah.
to these. You're used to coming into this type of environment. So and then like, and I'm probably sure that neutral site games, there's different games. So the way things have changed, players are more, and then they do 7-on-7, so players are more apt to it for the time. But
Mhm.
and then if you're a state title contender, I remember our coach used to tell us guys, if you want to play at Texas Stadium, we have to win X amount of games. Unfortunately, we
Right.
never did it. But like you have to win a certain amount of games and then you go. So the coaches are already knowing the route and they prepare you for it. Because once you've been a veteran playoff team or as a coach, you lay it out. Like I remember my brother with the basketball team. We knew, okay, win one game, second game, we're going to since we're further west of the Metroplex, we got to go to West Texas. Our coach would even have they would even have them play in tournaments in West Texas. I thought it was to instill fear to those teams because I've seen it with my brother seen walk into a gym and it's like they start whispering, and that's when the fear starts. It's like then you
Mhm.
get them on the court, you get a 10-0 run, and it's just like
Right.
they're in your head, and that's on purpose. So when we play that game out west, easy win, then come back to the Metroplex for the rest of the games before you go to Austin or San Antonio for state. So like coaches are psychological masters at that, and that's the part of the game I really appreciate and really love.
Right, right. And also, one thing about, I guess, high school football or even earlier ages, it seems like the fields, like the tools and the dimensions of the field don't really change, right? Like even
Yeah.
when I played high school ball, I played in some gyms that weren't like 94-foot courts or I played in some like I can't believe this is like official. They were actually it almost played like a half court game playing in there, but usually with high school sports, the football is generally the same size. I mean, maybe
Mhm.
within an inch or so, they may have different striping on it or whatever. The field's 100 yards, not 100 meters or whatever. And from high school to college to pros, you're basically playing on the same kind of surface. So there's not
Mhm.
like a kind of adjustment period that you will with other
Yeah.
sports that have either small arenas, like you play baseball. You might center field might be 300 feet up to a certain point, and then but it's very few high schools that you jacking balls 400 feet up because again the players don't have that kind of strength yet. So that's the one thing about football. There's this continuity between from high school to D1 and D3 and then to the pros that seems to be consistent across the board. So that certainly I think goes a long way with helping guys stay not be so intimidated by playing in such a massive structure. So
Yeah, that certainly helps and like the way things are, and a lot of teams that and it's funny because I know we're talking about the high school. They've changed rules and did things so long ago to make sure that the certain teams have the certain advantage. Because basically, you think about high school football, you think about small towns, but a lot of times of it is, Allen probably has a population of probably like maybe 50,000 or so,
mhm.
but it's like everyone's going to one school and then like you have other powerhouse schools where it's like, hey, they are in a bigger city, but they're in like they're in a suburb, so all the resources go to this school. I'll say for my school, that's why one school that in Dallas that is doing really impressive, South Oak Cliff, they're the Golden Bears. They're
Right.
really impressive because in
You back? You good? You muted. You can't, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. See if you get your mute sound back. Okay, you still muted. You still muted. If you want to go out, and come back. Okay, okay. All right, so I'll keep it moving until he comes back. But yeah, why don't you just go out and come back in, and we'll keep the show started. So but I'm just going to remove him from now, and when you hop back in, let me see if I can get. Okay, let's see if you can come back now. Are you there? That was a little blip there that he had, so hopefully we can get him back. All right, Shawnee, you're on. See if you can activate your video. Can you come back? See if you can come back in. All right, still okay. So I'm going to remove. Why don't you just log out completely, and like I said, just come back in, and I'll just add you to the. I'll just add you. I'll just add you back in. Okay, there you go. All right, now just come on back in, and then we'll look to resume. In the meantime, I'm going to bring again the NFL Week 15 back up. So again, setting the stage for Dante when he comes back in, and like I was saying earlier, certainly you have a lot of hotly contested races, certainly still going on. So again, this next 3 weeks is going to be very engaging. But we got another partner who's certainly able to join us tonight. The coach certainly is able to get into the bill tonight. How you doing, sir?
What's up, brother Manny? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And I think
All
I
right.
got Dante back. Yeah, you good, sir. You good.
Okay.
Appreciate
that. Yeah. What's going on, Coach Bird?
Yeah, how them girls, how's the season going? You're winding down. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, listen, man, I had the worst ending I could possibly imagine. We won our last game of the season for the 5th grade, which was a good thing. 6th grade won 2 in a row, which was a good thing. Going to the tournament, all eyes on my girls. The tournament started yesterday. Didn't have such a good showing from the team. Parents got into it after the game. Of my favorite, complexion of parents, got into it with each other. Just really a bad and sad ending, But
wow. Well, again, certainly we appreciate you for getting back into the game. I mean, just like Phillip Rivers got into the game at 44, you got off the bench and you decided to become a coach to one of the toughest groups, 5th and 6th grade girls. I don't envy that position, but certainly I appreciate you, putting your toes back in the water and, just hanging with it, certainly for the season. I know you weren't necessarily optimistic about doing it again, but certainly we appreciate you stepping up to be there for those young ladies, and maybe a few years from now they'll come back and thank you for what you did, right or wrong. But anyway, guys, let's summarize this Week 15 season. I already gave my thoughts. So again, we got some very exciting divisional races that are going to seem like they're going to go down to the wire down the stretch. So Dante, if you want to kind of give your 10,000 foot view, what you're seeing so far, your high-level summary from Week 15, then we'll delve into some of the games or whatnot. But what are your general takeaways from Week 15?
My general takeaway is just that a team that is still in position to be a major player in the playoffs is the Chicago Bears. Them being able to get a win and then getting a break with I always say, if your division rival is playing a tough opponent and you get a win and they get a loss, you got to really be motivated by that. So for them to have lost to the Packers in a close game, and then the Packers lose one, and on top of that, them losing, Packers take an emotional blow, losing to Michael Parsons. So, and knowing you're going to play them here in a few weeks as the season wraps up, just like I'll say the Steelers, we would just talk about it, getting things in order again and setting up what I'm hoping for is a Week 18 where they flex it to a Sunday night. And it's like everything in Pittsburgh, all eyes on the Steelers and Ravens. I don't want it on a Saturday night. I want that to set up where both teams continue to win games, and it sets up that way. That's what I'm headed for that one. What I also say is, going on in the NFC West, the Rams and the Seahawks, I believe they play tomorrow, which I just hate. I hate for some of those big late, like early in the season is fine, but late game divisional rival division games.
It's not. I think that's a Saturday night game, right? Or is that Thursday night? Well, you're right. It is tomorrow night. You're all correct.
Okay.
Yeah, this is probably be the highest rated Thursday night game.
Night game.
Those games usually do very well. So.
Yeah, and so it's just like it's tough to see that one go on short rest and everything like that. Another view, the NFC South is a mess. Like the Panthers they've gotten some good victories against the Packers, against the Cowboys, but to blow that game to get swept by the Saints, which I was messing with Black Man, and we were joking, and he was joking on my Cowboys being essentially eliminated, or I say eliminated. And I'm like, your team keeps winning, you need a higher pick. So that is a loss, in my opinion, when you're losing, when you're this late in the season. Hey, go fight hard, but you want them to lose, but you can't tell the players that. We talked about the Texans. They're coming. They're really coming on strong. Indy is proving that we are. Well, injuries aside, they were already fading, and so now they're going more. And I'll say for the Patriots, are still holding strong, and Denver, I still feel like they're a bit of a paper tiger. I trust the defense. I don't trust their offense, but you can't knock them for still winning. And I would say that, hey, RIP to the playoff hopes of the Chiefs, and speedy recovery for Patrick Mahomes. And and then I'll say for the NFC East, I'll recap and say it looks like for the first time in over 20 years, there's going to be a repeat division champion, so it breaks that streak. But Philly still, we're going to see what they're made of when it comes to playoff time. Because I think that I don't know if they're playing good enough. Because I can't take a win over the Raiders, the hapless Raiders in Seattle. We'll learn more about them when they play Buffalo. Because Buffalo, that's another team that's Josh Allen. I know you said a lot about you jokingly say me and Shotty's favorite quarterback is Lamar Jackson, which we know you're joking because that would obviously be Dak. So that's my go with the hometown first. But Lamar Jackson's got to fight to make the playoffs, and you really need to go to the Super Bowl because Josh Allen as well. And I'll also say this is going, and I can't remember if I put it in the chat or not. AFC teams, contenders, the Ravens, the Bills, forget the salary cap, take the hit later, flip some switches on contracts, go all in this offseason. Because if you think the Chiefs are going to be aggressive to make the team better while Mahomes and have a higher pick than they'll normally have for the next probably 5 years, you got another thing coming. You have to take advantage of this window. He says he wants to be back week 1. Hey man, I would rush him back because you have a lot of years left. So I wouldn't rush him back. And that is just the way the scope of the playoffs. Everything has changed with that. And a new team is going to rise to the top of the AFC. We got to see who's going to do it. It's going to be an upstart New England Patriots. It's going to be the Broncos. Are they going to prove me wrong? Can the Texans pull something out? We got to see. It's a lot. It's still a lot to watch for and to be excited about in the AFC. I know Alexis from Texas. I know she's probably watching. I know she's probably sad, but she's got she can cry on those rings and a lot of success. And I am confident that the Chiefs, they got to shake some things up and figure it out. But my last point is this. We've talked about it before. Eric Bieniemy. Well, Monty Jones said it on his pod this week. He was like, they really haven't been the same since Eric Bieniemy left. And it's tough to have that guy that is a hard ass and that is talking to you about things that are uncomfortable. But when they eked out of those wins, he probably was the guy to tell them, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Now you don't have that person. I don't think Matt Nagy's that guy. So now it's just you're eking by until you get your teeth kicked in. And then it's like, hey, what do I do?
Gotcha. Coach, your thoughts on week 15?
Man, I ain't going to be as long as the Dallas fans. Listen, man, I'm appreciative that this late in the season, no first place team can afford a loss. Not one. Everybody in first place must win out. Yeah, any slip-ups, then you might not be in the playoffs. And we see that even this late in the year, outside of Tennessee, the Raiders, I'm surprised. But everybody else, you're one loss away from not making the playoffs. So to be this late in the season, these last 3 games will probably be the tightest it's been in years and probably the most watched football that we're going to see. But salute to the NFL and their scheduling, man. And I'll say this for the last thing. It's unfortunate about Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate late in the season, him and Michael Parsons, 2 key players of their teams. But I don't know, man. The NFL got some reshaping amongst coaches and how they're going to do it because, Andy Reid is older. Who else? For Las Vegas, Pete Carroll is older. And the game just might be past their time. But I'll say this because you're not a Pittsburgh fan, really, Mr. Bennett, but Mike Tomlin for the win, another winning season. 24? What they have in lost in how many Monday night games?
Yeah, we're gonna get that. I mean, they're
salute to him, man.
they're
Mike
11-0
Tomlin,
on Monday.
coach
They're
of the year.
11-0 on Monday night, but they're 0-3 or 0-4 in primetime games. So so it kind of balances each other out. But yeah, home games on Monday night, he's 11-0. So certainly, shout out to that record. But we can talk about, we're going to get into delve into some of those topics you just talked about, just to kind of give everybody a high level view of the playoff picture. So now Denver actually holds the cards at this point at 12-2. They're the number one seed there. But you got Jacksonville, you got Pittsburgh, and again, teams are still in the hunt. Even with the Colts, even with their loss, they're still in the hunt. But I'm not sure if they can right that ship. Baltimore, they're definitely in the hunt for the division as well as just a playoff berth. And probably the most dangerous team, in my view, is the Texans. I don't think anybody wants to deal with that defense there, offensive woes aside. And then clearly in the NFC, the Rams are the number one seed. But again, we got the huge game tomorrow night. So certainly I think that's a must win for Seattle, because I'm just looking at the strength of schedule. I don't think they can make it there. And even though they say Dallas is technically still in the hunt, I can't see those guys hanging there. I think they're pretty much they're out the picture.
Dead in the water. Dead in the water. That's why I didn't even mention them, because it's like that's why you see my caption is draft season. Like, I know that Black Man gives his rep, because my thing is, send any Cowboy fans that you talk to and that's super positive, this our year, send them to this show so they can talk about how real Cowboy fans should talk, because I can't subscribe to that theory. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right. Let's delve into some specifics here. So again, as Coach had mentioned, unfortunately, you had some major injuries from Week 15. Patrick Mahomes, MCL, he had the surgery in Dallas. I think they got a good program down there. So Dante, I'm not sure who the doctor is down there, but I guess there's a specialist in Dallas where he had the surgery. And then also Michael Parsons, he seems like he has it, and that's a huge blow for the Packers, who again they're still trying to battle with the Bears for the NFC North title. So him being a big loss, he was their number one pressure guy on quarterbacks, and so him going down is a major blow to that defense. And you actually saw it certainly in the Denver game, but that offense couldn't really do anything. They had several opportunities certainly to win or at least tie the game with Denver, and that offense they were very hot in the first half, but the Denver defense really stifled them in the second half, and they really couldn't do anything. But again, major losses here. But as far as these guys for next year, now again, I know the technology is better. I'm not sure if even next season. So you got about 9 months, or really 7 months before training camp start and whatnot. So I don't know if these type of injuries, can they even expect to be back at full strength by that time? ACL is still an ACL. That's the worst of the knee injuries you can have. But Coach, your thoughts on the possibility that either of these guys will be ready for Week 1 next season, just given those type of injuries and their injury history? Because Patrick, he's had all kinds of lower body issues that he's had to deal with. And, so what are your thoughts on their prospects of being ready Week 1, 2026?
In reference to Micah Parsons, I think, he could come back maybe this time next year within the last 5 games or so. I think he has a good chance. But Patrick, I wouldn't even worry about him next year. Next year, just be a rebuilding year, getting the draft picks we need, maybe some good linemen, get them a year under their belt. So when Patrick does come back, because I think he tore 2 ligaments in his knee. Yeah. So, you turn 2, even though the technology, that's a little bit, a little bit more to handle than just 1 ligament. But
right.
And he's sort of knock-kneed in the way his knees are made. So the healing process to him will have to be very important.
Yeah.
So I hopefully, I think Kansas City understand he's not even going to be on the roster next year. You know what I'm saying? Player unfit to perform, PUP. So I wouldn't even worry about that. But it's just unfortunate, man. 2 stars of the game, 2 impact players, man, going down this late in the year. And, it just changed the dynamics. We know what Kansas City's fate was. So I don't know why Patrick was in the game, but Parsons, Green Bay seemed to have unrattled once Parsons sort of was gone. It'll be interesting to see how they rebound going into, these last 3 games. But
Gotcha. Dante, your thoughts on the these 2 latest injuries and their chances of being back week 1 of 26.
What I'll say is this: the doctor that does those surgeries, Dr. Cooper, he's actually the Cowboys' personal doctor. And that's why you see him a lot of times. He'll perform these surgeries on big name players like in college, like the corner that they took, because they felt like they have the inside information, which sometimes I don't really care for that theory too much, but I guess it comes in handy. But what I'll say about Michael Parsons being a pass rusher, although he's a younger player, and he's a guy that needs that explosion, needs to get off. I would say Patrick Mahomes has the better chance of being able to come back. The only thing is, are you going to be able to play enough good football for when he comes back that you still have a team? Now I would say Micah, even if he comes back later, although being a pass rusher, he's a guy that obviously the team has a better chance of, hey, we can fill in for you. We can make a way through the bulk of the season. And if we get you, we can ease you back. And at that point, I'm only playing him on pass rush downs. Then when we get to the playoffs, then I'll up it some more. But I think that's kind of where that's what you're looking at for both of them. But I'd say I understand it, Coach, but this is an ultra competitor. He's gonna say I'll be dead if I set out the whole year just punt on this year. From him to Chris Jones, who's getting up there, to the other players. So it's gonna be hard to get them off the field. Now the thing is, week 1, heck no. Now Micah, obviously these they're obviously great athletes, so they normally bigger, stronger, faster, might heal a little bit better. I could see you seeing Micah realistically around Thanksgiving. But then again, I thought with all of the knee injuries that the Cowboys linebacker DeMarion Overshawn had, he got hurt like on Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving. He came back before Thanksgiving this year. Now, obviously, he has to knock the rust off. But either way, with either player, you're not going to see them at their best self until 2027. That's when, unless you think he's going to come back. It could be like Adrian Peterson. It could be like Adrian Peterson. It could be.
But this is why I disagree. You're talking about 2 franchise players. You're not talking about Overshawn, a linebacker. You're talking about the franchise. We've invested $500 million on this quarterback. We cannot rush him back. And Patrick has nothing to prove. As far as he don't have nothing to prove. He got you.
He's a competitor. They're not gonna put him out there and let him get hurt. But if he is going to try to come back.
I don't see him playing before the season and next season at all. I don't see it. Now, Parsons, maybe if they're in contentions, but no Patrick.
Right. And plus, Patrick Mahomes, now, I wouldn't call him a running quarterback, but he does so much with his legs. And we saw Lamar Jackson certainly a lot less effective. He's not 100% either, and you see what that is. Now, I think part of that is him losing that weight. Again, bad idea. Put that 10 pounds, 15 pounds back on, because again, these guys they try to go the super healthy route. Well, let me get lighter. Let me start getting those veggie smoothies in. They lose all this weight, but then football is a physical game. So I think I'm on that Chad. With that, I'm on that Chad Ochocinco diet. Let these guys eat some cheeseburgers and whatnot. Harden those arteries up a little bit so you can handle the game. So but definitely, I think because he relies on his mobility. I think, I would definitely, just rebuild. My question would be, does Andy Reid want to come back? Because I think Kelsey's done, and how much more if would Reid want to go with the whole season 2026 without Patrick Mahomes? Does he want to stay, or should the Kansas City Chiefs start looking at maybe getting younger at the coaching position and whatnot, and just turn the page? So, but we're going to talk. We're going to revisit Kansas City a little bit later in the show, but let's move to the next block here. Obviously, again, Denver, basically 11 straight wins. They find ways. They win in dirty. They're winning late. Again, they seem like they were totally out of it in the first half. Defense tightens up. Again, I know Micah goes down, but they certainly clinched the playoff berth, and they're just doing it on both sides. The defense, Surtain, that defense is really stepping up and whatnot. So again, how far do you think Denver can go? Are they right now? Are they your favorites to come out of the AFC at this point, or do you just think that Cinderella at the ball is going to end at some point? So, Coach, what are your thoughts on Denver and their prospects?
I think right now the way they playing with Sean Payton got them really playing good team ball on all sides of the ball. They playing really good. I think that could possibly get them to the AFC Championship. It'll be interesting to see because you're talking about teams who have been trying to get there for the past few years, and now it's their greatest opportunity with Buffalo. Or who else is that? Possibly
Baltimore.
Baltimore, I don't know, but you're looking at who else? The Chargers. It's gonna be interesting in the AFC this year how it plays out because Denver, and this is the funny thing about football, you go on that 10, 12, 13 game win streak, and then you lose a game right at the wrong time. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Right. Not
but they on the road.
Got to secure the number 1 seed.
Right.
So
so that's why it's sort of interesting. With 3 games left, it's still a lot of football. So I would hope, I would like to see what they do, but I don't see Buffalo the way Buffalo's playing now, balanced attack. I don't see them being beat. So yeah, it's Denver, man. Sean Payton, the quarterback. the head coach. He's a Hall of Fame head coach, and he's gonna get the best out of his team. So,
gotcha. Dante.
Like I said, I still don't know about Denver. I know they're hot. I don't know if I can trust them in the playoffs just because I don't know how consistent the quarterback play is going to be. So that's my only thing with them. The only thing I will say this: it would behoove them. I would trust them. I'm not saying I would trust them anymore, but I would say for them, they need to get that number 1 seed more than I would say the Patriots. The Patriots, I do like their quarterback. I think he's talented. I didn't think he had enough weapons, but they're making it work with the weapons that he has. He's got the young running backs coming along, Travion Henderson from Ohio State. So they've got, and then of course Hunter Henry at tight end, and Diggs can give you some big plays every now and again. So it's like, and they got then they got the other just guys that come up and make a play, but they got a salty defense as well. But I trust the quarterback play more for them. Bo Nix will give you that just, what was that? Now he's playing his best ball right now, but like my co-host, like Shotty would say, I don't want to be playing my best ball now. I want to be playing my best ball January. So we're gonna see if they do get that. They always say that when they're hot, like if they went out and they get the top seed, will that sit out that week hurt them? I always say no, because it's better in football to be healthier and be fresher. I know the momentum thing or whatever, but I prefer to be a healthy team. Knock the rust off a couple of things, he said, but get out the Broncos. Now I'm just telling. I'm telling what I honestly feel. I don't want to go and say, hey, I feel like this is the greatest thing in the world. I have more confidence in the Patriots. And my only thing is, if they have the home field, a team like a Buffalo, they don't really have a really dynamite receiver. And that's one matchup that it might be good for them because they're going to be able to Surtain is going to be able to just dominate one side of his field. And then it's like, where else are they going to go? They got guys that just can't get open. Coleman's been inactive. And, how are they going to be able to run the ball? Because I will say a team that plays in the cold is better to play in Denver, but still that elevation is tough to deal with. So that is an added home field advantage. So like I said, if they went out, they very well could be 1 win, and then you're in the conference championship. That's the best thing about locking up that 1 seed.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another reason why I'm not. If they do get the number 1, your teams in the South, I know Jacksonville, Houston. In fact, I never trust dome teams in inclement weather, so that's going to be a challenge there for those guys. But moving on to our next block here. So again, got to give shout out to a grandfather, Phillip Rivers, comes back, almost pulls the upset of the last-minute field goal that clinches it for him. But I know the networks were going crazy. They kept going flashing back to the game, see what he do. 44 years old, comes back, 18 for 27, 120 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and I guess they're going to try to ride with him certainly the rest of the season. And so again, I gotta give him credit. But again, they basically they kept him upright. We saw a couple times he dropped back and he just fell. What I mean, getting them old man legs, getting out there. So I thought they did a decent job of getting him protection. And look, I mean, the mind doesn't go. And usually with a lot of these quarterbacks, I mean, the arm is like the last thing to go. I remember one time seeing Brett Favre years after he was retired. He was throwing some balls in a high school gym, and you could just hear the ball just whipping off. You can hear the snap coming off the ball as he's throwing. So as long as he's got his arm, he can still read a defense. He can still play the game. So again, kudos to him, even in the losing effort, coming back. Indianapolis is still in the playoff hunt. They still got Jonathan, at running back. So again, I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that they're done. But again, this is certainly a major effort. So you got to ask yourself, who's going to be the next older quarterback? I know Cam Newton was a little salty that no one's calling him up. I don't know if they want Cam in the league. I think, he even said himself, I think his personality is too big. I don't think teams want to deal with him. But he was kind of salty about, trying to get back into the game. But again, kudos to him. And certainly it seems like, a couple weeks ago, it seems like the Colts, they seemed like, the season was over when Daniel Jones went down, but I guess he's getting some hope, and we'll see about him trying to, see if he can lead his team to the playoffs. That would be an amazing story if he can do that. But Dante, what were your thoughts on the return of Phillip Rivers and the job that he did trying to win a game against a very good team that's still fighting for an NFC West division title, and they got the game tomorrow night. So what are your thoughts on this performance and the Colts prospects? Can they make a run?
I would say I feel bad for Anthony Richardson for not being able to get this opportunity for being injured. But I would say this is an indictment of a little bit of favoritism in guys that you're comfortable with, and an indictment of poor quarterback development around the league. If you don't know the rules about practice squads, there are practice squad quarterbacks all over the league. I'm pretty sure some of them have been backup quarterbacks. What I've learned about backup quarterbacks is they can be backups for a long time because everybody is running variations of different things of the same place. And so when you've been around a couple of times, it's, hey, I use this type of verbiage, you use this type of verbiage, or I can swap that out. I can pick up the plays pretty good. We saw that with Joe Flacco when he went over to, where did he go? To the Bengals. So he was able to pick up the offense relatively quickly. So, I understand getting the old guy, but a guy off the couch that literally is up for retirement because he's been, up for the Hall of Fame because he's been retired for so long, essentially resetting his clock. That's another underrated story of this. I've heard people say, hey, he does have 10 kids, does have grandchildren, but he's trying to get back to medical insurance. All types of jokes have been ringing off. And I'm here for the jokes, but at the same time, I'm worried about his health if he has to play. I know he has to play the Texans coming up. That's scary. He can't. I know you say, hey, he can't move. Hey, man, they got guys that can get quick pressure. And Will Anderson and Justin Hunter, Danielle Hunter. They have guys that can really impact guys that are blitz. It's tough. He came out and played the one game. They played it conservative. Their best bet is going to be Jonathan Taylor as the quarterback. We're going to give him the ball 25 times, running and catching. But, I mean, I see the indictment that you couldn't pick up a quarterback from, like, a practice squad, and you got him. And everybody's like, hey, he played, he survived, but stat line is ugly. But you expect that. But it's just like, kudos to him for coming out and, giving it, the good old college try. But, man, that's odd to have a grandfather play.
Shout out to the grandfather. He's representing, like Anton was saying, he's representing the grandfathers.
Shout out to Gen X, man. Shout out to
There you go. Coach, what are your thoughts on the effort by Phillip Rivers?
Just so they know, Gen X is the toughest generation in the history of mankind. So everybody coming after that, this is what you can see if you listen to a Gen X. You saw some, again, I'm sure that there's been quarterbacks who could come back at an older age. Quarterback, if you can move the pocket, read defense, the last thing you go, as I already mentioned, is your arm. So, you get him outside, he's probably throwing the ball, 60, 65 yards in the air. So as long as he can do that, the timing that comes with practice. So yeah, but salute to the Colts, man. And unfortunately, like you mentioned, Dante, with Richardson, man, I had high hopes for Richardson, but I don't think he's committed to the game. I don't think he's really committed like that. And once the organization gets wind of that, then he probably won't be in the league next year, which is unfortunate. But again, that's another spot for Shedeur Sanders, man, and I ended there.
Gotcha. Want to give a special shout out, being I'm the resident Steelers fan. Shout out to Mike Tomlin, certainly who moves into number 10 on the all-time wins list. I believe he also passed Bill Cowher on the Steelers win list, and I think he's too short of Chuck Noll. Chuck Noll has 193 wins. So again, shout out to Tomlin, even though certainly after a couple games ago, people were calling for his firing. Certainly, a lot's going to be determined whether or not they can keep this momentum and capture the division. Also, the Steelers, most Monday night wins in NFL history with 55. So again, just wanted to give Mike Tomlin certainly his flowers. And again, he's about to overtake possibly this season. Certainly overtake Chuck Noll for the all-time wins list with the Steelers. But obviously, Chuck Noll's got those 4 Super Bowls. So again, that's something I don't think fans will never certainly give him that credit. But so I just want to do a kudos to Tomlin certainly for the effort. That's my little editorial there. You guys, anything to say on this before I move on? I just want to just acknowledge him.
You said it all. You said it all there.
Gotcha. Brother Benny, you wouldn't call him for the accent of Brother Tomlin, were you?
I said if it happens this year, I understand it. Look, would I love for him to stay? Yeah. But if this was his last year, especially if they did make the playoffs, I wouldn't have anything to say about it. Like I said, I know Marvin Lewis. He was with the Bengals for 15 years and made the playoffs almost every year, but couldn't win it. So again, I would get it. Haven't had the playoff win since 2016. So again, I understand it. So if they wanted to make that move, but but again, I just want to acknowledge moving into number 10, he's getting some very rare company, and so certainly by the time it's all said and done, we'll see where he lands. I don't know if he's going to get to 300. I don't know if anybody wants to coach that long, but Shula and Hallis and those guys, I don't know if they want to get there, but that's a great accomplishment, and it's clearly he's got the most wins by an African American coach. So again, kudos to him certainly for that effort.
Hey, let me cut in real quick, because I know we got a lot of fact checkers and stat checkers, and we appreciate y'all that. I did have to go up and look it up because Phil Rivers being so old, and I saw him as thinking that he was Gen X. Technically, he's born in 81, so he's right on the line because I think the cutoff is 1980. So
Gen X is 64. I thought it was 82, but it might be.
Okay. No, I know 82 is not because my brother's 82, and I know he is flat. He's what they call a geriatric millennial. Mm. And so those are at that point, which is funny. That's crazy to hear because they're at the top of it. That's what they call it. They call it the people that have the list or whatever. And so he teeters. But my gosh, being a grandfather, that's crazy. Yeah, so I don't want nobody to get us on the stat check there. So he technically falls under the earliest millennial. So
yeah, definitely. Let's our first preview game. Let's get some predictions here. So again, huge game coming up. Again, Detroit's fighting to get into the playoffs. Again, it's been an up and down season for them, just like with the Steelers. Both teams are 8-6. 4:25 afternoon game in Detroit, and Detroit is coming off that loss to the Rams, and whatnot. Steelers seem like they're playing a little bit better on offense. So again, who do you guys like in this matchup? I'm the diehard Steelers fan, so I think they got some momentum going. I think that certainly that defense for the Rams can be had, and so again, I'll pick the Steelers in a close one. I'd say maybe like 24-21, something like that. Certainly a field goal game. I'm riding with the Steelers. I think they got momentum going on, and Rodgers has been looking very good last couple of weeks. And so I'll ride with them. But, Coach, your thoughts on the game, who you got come out?
Man, it's going to be a great game, though. What are they playing? Pittsburgh? Yeah, it's going to be a great game. You know, Pittsburgh is a cold weather team, plays outside. Detroit is in the cold weather, but they play in the dome. So I think if Pittsburgh put together the game like they did in running game, because Detroit, they're going to be balanced. And if they can get to golf early, I think it's a Pittsburgh victory. But again, you know, both teams are fighting for playoff contention. So, oh, man, this is a close one, man. I'll say, is Ahmad St. Brown, is he on the injury report
he's
yet?
back. Yeah, I know he played in the last game. So, you know, he's definitely
okay, so I'm going to go with Detroit by 3.
Gotcha. Dante, who you got?
To be honest, I know Detroit is fighting for it, and I know the Steelers, they still want to win. In the back of their mind, we want to know if it's one of those like, hey, we know we got a matchup. If they win 2 out of their 3, I think they'll make it.
Actually, it comes down. They can lose the next 2 games. If they beat the Ravens in the final game, that's the last game of the year, they get the division and they're in. So they got more options than Detroit. Detroit is really the more desperate team.
They got to win. And that's why I think they get it. The only thing I think, besides the desperation that might hurt Detroit, is I know people think this is the craziest thing when people do stuff like measure hand size. They measure hand size for quarterbacks for games like this. Outdoors, cold, being able to grip the ball. If you look up Jared Goff's fumble stats, they're pretty high. And so the people that are evaluators had a reason to do that, to knock him on that. But what I will say is, and obviously he plays in a dome and before he played in LA, if the weather's not too bad, I do think that the Lions can win this one, just because that 2-prong running back attack and having Jameson Williams coming in the form with that speed. And it's like he's got the speed to where, all right, you're backing off of him, but he's the guy that's going to get run after catch. And then you got, St. Brown in the middle of the field in the slot making plays. And then you got those plays where they're running the play action and they're coming in and they're going in through the B gap. They're going in through the gaps. And like you're thinking it's a run play, or they're coming in through the gap sometimes and actually blocking. That type of physical style that actually built for cold weather is just that Jared Goff might not be. So I'm going to lean slightly to the Lions on that one.
Gotcha. Looking forward to that one. Certainly that's going to be one of the key matchups. Moving on here, again, we got the Rams. Again, like I said, they put up a 40 spot on Detroit. And, certainly they're clinching playoffs. They might be the most complete and balanced team, certainly in the NFC. But, again, they got a really highly contested matchup coming up. But Matthew Stafford, got to give credit to him. I think he is the leading candidate for MVP. You see the stats, 37-5, 112.2 passer rating. So I think it's almost a slam dunk. I know May was up there, but I think he fell off with that loss. Josh Allen, he's playing better. But, again, that team's been inconsistent all year. And Jordan Love, again, really couldn't get it done. So really, I think it's a walk-in for Matthew Stafford to get the MVP. The only guy I would say, and again, I know we talk about this a lot, it'll never happen. I think Lawrence Taylor might have been the last defensive player to get a league MVP. But I think you got Garrett from Cleveland. I think he's like 1 or 2 sacks short of the all-time record or something like that. But I don't think that's going to be enough. Especially
he's a sack to. I think he needs a half to tie it and a full sack to break it.
Yeah, and he's got 3 games to do it. So again, he's had an incredible season, but just given all the drama, even with the quarterback situation in Cleveland and Shador and all that, it's like that's been kind of no one's really hyped it up or talked about it. But certainly I want to acknowledge Myles Garrett for certainly his accomplishments, and certainly he's about to, in all intents and purposes, would look to break that record. So shout out to him. But again, we got this major key matchup coming up again Thursday night. And again, I think I got to give, in terms of there's 2 questions here. Again, who you're picking for the game, but then also you're looking at the strength of schedule. Again, I think the Rams are going to win this division. I think they have the outside of the game tomorrow night. They got Atlanta and Arizona to close out. But you got Seahawks. They're going to have Carolina, who's fighting for the division now, against Tampa Bay. And they got to go to San Francisco, and that's going to be a flex game towards the end. I would think that game would be flexed in for that last game of the season. But, so again, who do you got for the game tomorrow? And then regardless of who wins. Even if the Seahawks win, I don't know if that gets them the division, just given the latter two opponents. So Coach, who do you got tomorrow night? And like I said, this could very well be the highest rated game in Thursday night football history, given the stakes, especially this late in the season. So who you got?
Man, you're talking about a quarterback who's known to be consistent and in the big games. Then you're talking about a quarterback who's had some shaky starts, and now he's done it again with a winning team, his second year in a row. He hasn't been as consistent in the big games, the big spotlight. So, man, with a healthy dude, I'm just going to go ahead and say, just for the aesthetic, in LA, I'm going to say LA.
No, this is at Seattle. This is at Seattle.
Ooh, let me see.
So you got the 12th man going on. So
I'm going to say LA by 3. By 3.
Okay. Dante?
I'm with you on that one. I think that I trust Stafford more. I don't trust. I really like the talent of Sam Darnold. I like that coming into the draft. But I felt like obviously didn't go to a great situation. But I just think we haven't seen it enough of him being able to come through and make a big play. Like I remember, early this year he was in that shootout with against the Buccaneers, and it just always seems like he's just not making enough plays or making a mistake. And so I do think they're gonna certainly win that one. I think it'll be a close game because that defense for Seattle is really tough. But I do think they'll pull it off.
Yeah. Temperature for tomorrow's game, I think it's going to be in the 40s, the mid to upper 40s, but it's going to be rainy. It's going to be wet. But I got to think with the 12th man there, I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm going to pick Seattle to win that one, but I still think that the Rams capture the division because I don't think they're losing to Atlanta or Arizona. I think they got a really soft schedule, but Seattle, even after this one, even after an emotional win, I think they, to go into Carolina and into San Francisco, that's asking a lot. So I think Rams still win the division, but I think Seattle gets the win tomorrow night. So moving on to our next block here. So this is for Dante, since I know you're a big Houston fan. So again, you got two.
That's Johnny. That's Johnny.
I mean,
no Texas love.
Okay.
That's not.
All right. Well, then you speak. Well, you're the Texas contingent, so I'll have you speak on this since you're closer to the action than I am. So obviously you got, and I got to give credit to Jacksonville, to their quarterback. I know last year we roasted them saying they overpaid, but Trevor Lawrence has been playing a lot better this year. They've been putting up a lot of points, and but in Houston their defense has been stellar. But again, been struggling a little bit offensively. The quarterback play has not been consistent. Again, if you look down the stretch, again, I think Carolina has they both have tough schedules because they got, after this game, they're going to have they got Denver, Indianapolis, and the Tennessee. That's a given. But again, Texans, they got Los Angeles, who's still looking for a playoff bid, and Indianapolis, depending if they're still going to be in at that time. So again, who do you have winning the AFC South? I'll start with Dante and then go to Coach.
I'm going with the I'm going with the defense. I'm going with the Texans because I know they literally started their revival this season when they caught fire by coming back from a big deficit against the Jags. They came back and they won. And I know they made a change in the offensive play calling and different things that they're doing, but I think it's going to lean on the defense. If they can, that old formula, I know that they might be a dome team, they might be an inside team, but if they can, and that travels, running game and defense does travel, and that defense that certainly travels, is going to make it tough. Like if they have to go against a team like a Denver or another team with a younger quarterback, they're feisty. The defense is salty. But I think if they can get C.J. Stroud, if he can get back to playing like the guy he was a few years ago, making big time plays, making plays to Nico Collins, who's his top receiver, I think I think they're going to win it. And then I think a home game in Houston, and then being inside, being comfortable. And I think they'll go on to the divisional round and see if they can finally make it past the divisional round, which they never have.
Mhm.
So I got them. Kudos to Trevor Lawrence. I was a believer in him coming into the league, but what he's done so far, I just haven't been enthused by. I know he had that great, with six total touchdowns last week.
Mhm.
So explosion against a bad team. Both of them, I'm going to give you credit for blowing out a bad team. That's good to keep things in rhythm. And now let's see how you look against the rest of the good teams on your schedule.
Yeah. Who do you think has the better? Do you think both of them run the table? They win all three, or who do you have? Because again, Houston's one game out, so they're going to have. So again, they need Jaguars to fall either going to Denver. Certainly that's going to be a huge game. I think Houston should handle Vegas easily, so they'll be tied. So let's just say they'll be tied. But then again, how do you think this plays out? I think Houston has to win out, but I think certainly I think Jaguars have to that game in Denver. They got to lose that one if Houston has any chance of winning that division.
That game in Denver, I just don't have no confidence in them winning that. Like, props to their coach for what he's done as far as bringing off, because they brought him in to be the offensive mind to get things settled and kind of save Trevor. But I don't have any confidence winning in Denver. I know I said earlier but like Denver, I would trust Bo. Well, I don't really trust Bo Nix, but I would say I trust that defense to make enough plays and limit the Jags, especially with no Travis Hunter. I know they did add a receiver from the Jacoby Myers from the Raiders, but I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them in Denver. Atmosphere, cold weather, sunshine. Even though they play outside in sunny Florida. Going to be a tough. So I do got that one is one I have marked as a loss. I do think at this point the Texans do win out and run the table.
Gotcha. Coach, who wins the South?
This is, again, man, that's what I like about this time of the year, man. Everything's going down to the wire, man. I do agree with Dante with the Texans defense playing at a high level. But I'm going to go with the Jaguars. They seem to be playing some good ball. So we'll see, man. Team Jaguars a little bit more balanced, and Lawrence is finally found his groove. And yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jaguars, man. Again, it's gonna be another close one, man. It's gonna be about another 3-point game, man. Ain't gonna be no more blowouts this time of the season.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
All right. Last block for the NFL that I wanted to cover. This was a story that was sort of especially after the game last week. So Joe Burrow, certainly after the loss, certainly to Buffalo, bad loss by those guys. He had some comments after the game, and so a lot of people were speculating, could we see, very similar to Andrew Luck, could we see Joe Burrow step off the stage? So you saw on the right here, in 7 seasons, Andrew Luck missed 26 games due to injury. In 6 seasons, Joe has missed 22 games due to injury. Luck ended up retiring prior to the 2019 season, which would have been his eighth year in the league. So again, we're seeing parallels. Even though he has all that talent on offense, clearly, it didn't help them. The last hand, that was a bad loss to the Bills. And, he's still nursing a toe injury right now. So, basically in his comments, he's talking about, is the game still fun for him to play? He's got plenty of money, but every year he's had all these injuries. So do you think that, could he very well retire? What's your thoughts on that, Dante, of Joe Burrow? Leaving the game early and doing just like what Luck did, and he's had more success than Luck because he got to a Super Bowl and thought he'd be back, but things haven't gone that way. And another thing would be the dysfunctional nature of the Bengals, because again, they got they paid some of their skill position players or whatnot, but I don't think it's a well-run organization. They haven't addressed defense for a long time. And, do you think he could hang it up at the end of the year?
No, I don't. I think it's something that I think he's upset. I think if anything, he will certainly push his weight around in the organization. They very well could have said, we want to protect our quarterback, but he pushed for Jamar Chase. and they could have had a Panay Sewell, who I think he's going to be Hall of Fame trajectory level tackle the way his career is going, just like Chase has been that trajectory as a receiver. But I think they're going to give him what he wants. They gave him the deal he wants. He said he wanted both the receivers. So if you want to know one of the reasons why the defense is there, maybe they should have had a backbone and said, hey, we're going to trade Higgins and get some defense in here. Well, we gave you what you wanted. Your body can't stay healthy. And they said, well, protect him. So they're going to have to find a way to protect him. And I would say probably the best route for them to do is protect him, give him a good guard to guard. So good guards, good quality center. The tackles, if you have a decent tackle, you can escape pressure and move around, but that interior pressure coming to you is such a problem. But I think if anything, the worst you would do, he's not going to retire. Look at that check that he's getting. He's going to ask for a trade or force his way out, and they're going to be so stubborn that they won't get. Who was it? Carson Palmer retired. He was so mad, and then they eventually traded him after a year of retirement. That is a cheap organization. We saw the snow. They violated NFL rules, not shoveling the snow off the seats. So it's gonna be hell for him to try to leave. But I think he forces them to try to make some moves this offseason because they are wasting his prime.
Gotcha. Coach?
Well, the organization ain't doing nothing. They're giving him what he wants. I mean, his body is not as durable as it should be. It's unfortunate. He's had some bad injuries. And I can see where his mind is out there. Because even in the last game, his crucial mistakes cost them the game. So it wouldn't be fun. He made the bad plays. It wasn't the fact that they wasn't able to be in contention. We see they could have won the game. Once he started making those mistakes, the momentum changed, and Buffalo did what Buffalo do if you're not securing the win late in the game. So I can understand the frustration, especially with the season he's had. But again, it's about being healthy now. Get healthy. Hopefully they draft linemen, offense, defense, maybe a running back, third, fourth round this draft, but they need to concentrate on line, get better protection. But Joe has to do a better job of.
Did we lose the coach? Coach, you still there?
Am I here? Yeah. Can you hear me? I said, yeah. Just the last thing I said, I think, Joe Burrow, he just has to do a better job of staying healthy. Maybe get a little stronger, become more flexible, whatever it takes. But he knows the impact he plays on the field, and if he's not playing at a high level, so it can be frustrating. But I don't think he's going to retire. He's going to be back maybe 10 more years, as long as his body hold up.
10 more years? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. If his body hold up, he's going to play. Yeah, he's going to play it out because he's already lost a lot of time, so he's not going to quit early.
Gotcha. All right. Last minute, this was actually for Dante, so I don't know if Dante, if you're still there. I wanted you to have kind of the last word on this, kind of this sort of to wrap up your Cowboy season. So again, they had a bad loss against Minnesota, and so if any parting words that you want to have, and you could say, I mean, this defense has been non-existent.
Oh yeah.
So it's weird. So the whole just getting back to the whole Micah Parsons thing. So again, I think they both suffered because that Parsons not staying with the Cowboys. Again, would they have still given up this kind of numbers or not? Who knows? But any final thoughts on where the Cowboys go from here? This defense is clearly very porous, giving up a ton of points this year. So any last words before we exit the stage for the Cowboys here? I just want to give you
only thing is I wanted to make sure to prove that clip I sent you today, where it's just like, if there's any more indictment of you not being the right pick as a defensive coordinator. Like, my thing is, I thought going in, I was like, hey, he's a guy that's had some success, but I didn't do a deep dive on it to look at it as, and I forgot the theory of, I like coaches that have been to other places. Maybe you were a failed head coach. Maybe you're a guy that's just a coordinator. I know he was good as solid as a coordinator with the Colts. Didn't realize he was so stuck in his ways on things. I got to find that out the hard way. Also did not realize, obviously, nobody knew they were going to just trade Micah before the season started. So he gets grief. You get some, I'll give you, cut you some slack for that. But that's been a long time. Then you didn't know how to prepare for the 4 teams in your division, where you couldn't prepare for them, and guys are telling you, hey, you got to do this, or if you something works and has success, he goes away from it. Like a content creator that I follow a lot, he literally said, when you bring pressure, you have the 5-man front, and you bring someone else, hey, they have success. Or you bring a fifth blitzer, you rush 4, you blink 1, and you got. He's like, he's gonna go away from it. First series, what do we get? Blitz, force the turnover. Does he go back to it? Nope. Does he mix up the coverages? No. Does he want to play 90% zone? Yes. You gotta mix it up. And he just didn't do it. So he's not been good enough as a defensive coordinator. The talent hasn't been good enough. Obviously, I don't think it would have been this bad with Micah. With Micah, it would have been back to the same old, we can run against them. And if you have a day where you're not running against them and just lighting you up, then Micah's gonna go and rush the passer because he's such an impact. And then other guys' pass rush numbers are better. So yeah, it would have been better, but it's still, they haven't built the foundational blocks on the defense. Kudos to them for righting a wrong a little bit and getting Quentin Williams, which I've loved that acquisition, but it's not enough. This offseason, they're gonna have to flip some switches to get some cap space, spend some money. But the 1% might as well be 0. I think it's over. I think it's over once Philly wins because they play the Commanders, who shut down Jay Daniels.
Yeah.
And boy, were they a flop. Were they a 1-year wonder? I kind of figured that, but so it's good to see. Hey, if I'm down, another rival is down as well. But nice. That's why it's draft season. It's time for me. I'm doing mock drafts. Hey, who might fall here? And honestly, I know Micah's down. I'm sorry to hear that Micah's injured, but if the Packers want to lose a few more games and move that pick up to 21, 20, something like that, I'll take it because I need as much draft capital as possible because we don't have a second or third round pick. Because the third round pick was for Pickens, and then the second round pick was for Quentin. So I did,
Gotcha. Coach, any comments on this? I can move on. I just want to give Dante, since he's the resident Cowboy fan, I just want to get him the last word on this. If you don't have anything, we can move on. But I just want to
just real quick, because I know all my Cowboy fans gonna be crying over the next playoff season. Man, listen, man, suck it up. Y'all be all right, man. That's all.
All right. Let's get off the NFL stage. Again, a lot of games coming up, but again, so it's going to be very competitive. This is why I love the NFL. Like I said, I'm sorry we're not covering NBA. We're not covering NHL. I know they got these tournaments going on in the NBA. I can't get into it. Shout out to OKC, also a very hot start and whatnot, but I just can't get into basketball.
The Knicks won they won the cup. They won that cup.
Whoop-de-doo. I can't get into it now. I'm just
they ain't see the championship. They ain't see the championship in how long?
1973. Watergate.
Yeah.
All right. The oil crisis back in the day. OPEC. That's the last time that they had that. But let's move off the NFL stage. Start a little college football. So again, the college football playoff starts this weekend. So again, you got football games on tomorrow night. You got a big game. You got the big NFL suite on Saturday, and then but Friday starts the college football playoffs. So again, I just wanted to preview these games, get picks ahead of these games. So again, you got Alabama 8-9 matchup with Oklahoma. I'm taking Oklahoma because, quite frankly, I don't think Alabama should have got in, but that's just me. So I'm just hating on Alabama. And I think I'll always pull for Oklahoma over Alabama. So I'm picking them to certainly to win this game. And then as far as the Miami Texas A&M, I'm picking A&M over Miami. So Texas A&M, Oklahoma for this first suite of games Friday and Saturday. Dante, your thoughts on these two matchups?
You can really go to Coach. You can really go to Coach Ferg because there's no way as a Texan I'm rooting for Oklahoma, and I'm damn sure not rooting for A&M. So so that's mine. So I'm obligated. I can't. I absolutely can't. It's a lot of reasons I could go into about A&M, but I just can't. Oklahoma never.
I hear you. Yes, congratulations to the Knicks for the NBA Cup championship.
Hey,
Coach, your thoughts on the games coming up? Who you got? Who your picks? Yeah, Boomer. Yeah, I'm all Boomer Sooner. So who you got, Coach?
Alabama.
And shout out to Texas for beating two of those teams in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, and just again, you see the spread. So Alabama 1.5 point favorite or over Oklahoma, and certainly A&M 3.5 points under. Yeah. Actually, no. It's Texas A&M 3. Yeah, they're the favorites minus 3.5. So who do you got in these games? Coach, it's on you, man.
Oh, okay. Y'all was talking. I didn't know. I just say Alabama and Miami, man. Texas A&M, about time for them to lose. It's hard to beat a team 3 times or so. So Alabama, Miami, moving on.
All right, heard that. Next we have again, this is why again I was pretty adamant last week. I'm not a fan of this at all. I think this is not what the college football playoffs are supposed to be about. Mississippi, Ole Miss, 17.5-point favorites over Tulane. This should never happen in a college. Look, Oregon, 21-point favorite over James Madison. This is, to me, in my view, this is not what the college football playoffs are supposed to be about. And so, I mean, it's not even worth picking these games. But this is the problem I have with the
Blame the
college.
ACC. It's the ACC's fault. They were supposed to get that spot, so it'd only be one of these teams we could clap for Tulane or James Madison, and then go on about our business.
Yeah. Coach, your thoughts on this? This here, but I think this is everything wrong with how, again, league organizations. I mean, I think the whole thing needs to be scrapped. I don't mind 12. In fact, I still prefer 12 teams. I don't think you need to go above 12 teams in any sort of playoff system. But
I like fewer than 12, but I'm with it. 12 I can live with.
Yeah. I don't want to see 16 or 20 or whatever, but your thoughts on this, Coach? But I'm not hating on James Madison or Tulane. I'm just saying that, again, football is not like basketball. We have Cinderella, where you get a hot team, you just get hot from the 3-point line, and you win. This is not how football works. But your thoughts on this matchup here? I don't even know what the ratings are going to be on these games, but I just think this is everything wrong with it. But what are your thoughts on it?
We could still see a potential upset in one of these games. That's the fortunate thing about it, because those long layoffs, those weeks layoffs, sometimes can change the dynamic of a team, right? And especially now that players are staying home more. So it's hard to, if you're looking at the names, you can be like, oh, man, they don't have a chance. But also players are staying closer to home. So I can see a potential upset in one of these games. Not sure which game, but I can see a potential upset, man. So I'm just going to leave it there, man. It'd be interesting to see, especially if a team upsets. Then I do agree with the 12 teams, just keep it there. And I was thinking maybe 11 with the number 1 seed getting the only bye or so. But, yeah, salute to college football, man. At least they trying something different.
Mm-hmm. It's
always going to be some snubs. I believe the Power 5 conferences should be a lot, you know what I'm saying, as far as if you win the champion, the champion of that league. But, so it's just interesting to see how they're going to move going forward.
Gotcha. All right, so last block of the night. Again, we don't want to belabor it too long, and hopefully my guy, Mandrell, he's on the way. Hopefully he'll be coming up in the next few minutes. But, yeah, we're going to move to the boxing stage. So I know we touched on this a little bit last week when you had Bud Crawford. He was very critical of the WBC and the sanctioning fees that they require when you win titles. I think they wanted something like $300,000. Again, WBC historically has been one of the most corrupt organizations in boxing. They definitely show a lot of favoritism, especially towards Latino fighters, especially for Canelo Alvarez, never holding him accountable to anything. But it seems like with other fighters, they can be really quick to pull the trigger if you don't play by their rules. But we just got the word yesterday that Bud Crawford is retiring from boxing. 30, I think he's 38 years old. Again, you see his accomplishments, WBO lightweight champ, undisputed super lightweight, undisputed welterweight, and undisputed super welterweight champion. Certainly on the Mount Rushmore, in my view, at this point. Now, I know you've had some historic fighters back in the day. I know you got your Sugar Ray Robinsons and whatnot, Sugar Ray Leonards and whatnot, but I think that his legacy, what he's been able to accomplish against odds, against Bob Arum and these other groups that tried to keep him down. The guy has taken less, always the B side, just to get what just to prove that he's the best in the world. I think that he's going to go down. I think he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of it. Now, who you want to put on that Rushmore, maybe we can have a little talk about that, Coach. I know you and I go back a bit with boxing, but certainly a great career. And I don't think, quite frankly, I don't think he has really anything else to prove. And in the biggest moments of his career, I know Dante, I know he beat up your boy in Texas. that was
Yeah, he took my fanhood.
That was
he took my fanhood. As soon as I seen him beat my boy up, I was like, nah, I got to go with you now. I've never seen a guy just demoralize an opponent like that. I'm talking about in this era. I'm obviously y'all from the OG era of boxing where they just crushed a guy's soul. And I was just like, yeah, this dude is as great as they say. He's the real boogeyman. And I was like, nah, I'm riding with him because that's it. I support greatness. He beat my guy. I hope Earl comes back and fights one day. But that guy's a monster.
Yeah. At a AB level. So Coach, your thoughts on Bud, on his career, and where does he stack in your? And again, I know you and I go back a little while longer, but your thoughts on his career and where does he rank as far as greatest fighters of all time? I'm putting him on Mount Rushmore on this point. I think a lot of those guys, especially in the welterweight category, it'd be very difficult to pick anybody over him. So what are your thoughts on Bud Crawford in his career? And do you agree this is the right time for him to step off the stage at this point in
time? I agree. He should go on Mount Rushmore. I sort of got a hold of his career sort of late, last 6-7 years or so. But he's proven that he's the best in his time. He's faced everybody, he's conquered multiple weight classes, undefeated in all. So yeah, he has to be on one of the top boxers of all time. It's just unfortunate, the way it's happening, because I guess the people who's supposed to pay have not paid. And it can be a couple of $100 to a couple of thousand, depending on what they feel like it should be. And we saw other boxers who didn't really have this problem. So right. I hope that's not forcing him out, but I do understand he has a lot of pressure. I say it's a bad time. I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad time for him, but boxing ain't going to have too much else going on in the lower divisions. Everybody's getting older. Everybody's been beat up. You have a bunch of beat up guys beating on each other. Nobody's really coming up younger, in the younger ranks. And it's going to be unfortunate. I believe that they could be trying to do away with traditional boxing. And to me, everybody going to this MMA style. But then again, you're going to see a bunch of old dudes beating up on each other, bloody, going back to Django movie scene days where they just pounding each other out, which it's unfortunate about the game of boxing. It's a shiesty game. Boxers should be paid a high premium. So I'll say this, and I should salute to Floyd Mayweather. He was one of the very few that took it on himself, and he accomplished it, and he went out on top. But, Crawford, hopefully he doesn't give up. Hopefully think about it, come back next fall, beat up the next guy, get his money, then maybe walk away to prove that he's deserved to be recognized as one of the greatest of all time.
So if you don't mind me asking, who then would be on your Mount Rushmore? It could be in history, and it could be any weight division or whatever.
Any weight division.
Who are you putting on your Mount Rushmore?
Well, for my idol, it's going to be Ali for one. And then I would go with Tyson. I would put Crawford there. I can't necessarily say that I would put Mayweather, but if I was to go, it'd be Ali. just because of the great battles I saw, the boxing skills that sort of innovated the game, would be Ali, Sugar Ray, Crawford, and Tyson.
Gotcha. Dante, again, I'm only asking you to operate within. See, one thing for sure, I don't hold people to Mount Rushmore's. Like, I'll never put Sugar Ray Robinson in my Mount Rushmore, say because I never saw him. And another thing about it is also that, again, I think he was a mutant in his era. Shout out to Mandrell, who's certainly in the combo tonight. Again, we talked about this on another show leading up to the Canelo fight or whatever. I think Sugar Ray Robinson was a mutant. I think he was an evolution from his time. I don't think he fought competition that was even close to the more evolved fighters like the Sugar Ray Leonards of the world. I don't think he was ever tested to that degree, but I think he was definitely a step above. The guy had a dancing background. I mean, the guy tap dance and what. So again, he was bringing stuff. You talk about back in the day when it was pugilism, right? It was like, look, you hit me, I hit you, and the last man standing. That was boxing back then, and he changed the game. And I don't think a lot of people just knew how to deal with that. So I don't put Sugar Ray Robinson, no disrespect, in my Mount Rushmore because of that. So I will definitely go with guys that I've seen or I've seen a lot of footage on, but I just think he fought in an era of pugilists and not guys who necessarily had refined sweet science. But Dante, want to certainly give you the floor, from your experience with boxing, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore? Any weight class, any that you want, who's on your Mount Rushmore of boxing that you've seen in your lifetime?
Well, for me, I don't want to disrespect the game, because I know I didn't watch boxing heavy past a certain point. Like, I know probably from a previous generation, one of my favorite boxers was Roy Jones. I did enjoy seeing him, and I want to say right about that point, I kind of fell out from it because it's kind of like, it felt like I used to get all my boxing from all the pay-per-view watch parties. And so I go with my people, and my dad would be like, he taught me the game. He's like, no, we're going to go in here, kick them something, bring some food. And we just I'll never forget that one. I was so disappointed and crushed when it was Mike and Lennox Lewis. And I was like, Mike was just like the hero. So he would definitely go on my Mount Rushmore. Love Mike Tyson. Love Mike. So I would say for mine, obviously, he dethroned my guy. So mine would be just the three I can think of off the top: Roy Jones, Terrence Crawford, Mike Tyson. And then, as far as forward, I've seen the great fights. My dad, he made me. He was like, "Now you go watch some of these great people. You go watch a ESPN Classic. Come watch some of this. Watch this with me." I would watch that. We had old recorded tapes of stuff from everything. So I've seen that. So, but just saying blow and guys fighting, I put those three. I can't think of a fourth, but all respect given. My only thing is, I hope physically, because I know how boxing is a painful sport. I hope he got enough money to make it. I don't know if he's using it as a tactic to go, but it's great to go off on top like that, because I know, like he said, I really felt that when he said, y'all wanted Canelo win. Y'all just knew Canelo was going to win. Mm-hmm. And I messed up your plans. I love that. And I'm talking about a masterclass. That fight, man, shout out to Sonny. We went to go find that. Next fight, we had to find a better bar. But, man, it was enjoying to be I knew he was going to win. Everybody's, I'm Canelo. Canelo's like, nah, bro, this guy's everything they said he was. It's kind of like when you hear, oh, he's a killer, but they scared of him. And then you see the killer, and it's like, oh, no. They get locked. There's nothing better than somebody being hyped up, and then they're better than what the hype was. There's nothing better than that. But I'm done. I can't wait to hear my guy, man, Terrell, talk about it, man. You hear you and Mr. Bennett talk about boxing. Hey, man, hats off to you, brothers, because I learned a lot when y'all talk about the game. So I'm going to toss it over to Mandrell.
Gotcha. Welcome to the show, Mandrell. Always a pleasure to have you on. Our resident boxing aficionado expert here was a former boxer. In case you guys don't know, the guy knew Bob Arum. So again, he's invested. So we're not just talking about
that's crazy. Let's talk about that one day.
You were almost signed by Bob Arum, I think.
Almost.
Yeah.
King had a better deal on the table. I'll say you that. King made a better offer, but at the same time, I know the story of Larry Holmes and Mike Tyson and Zap Judah and everybody else. So Yeah, it's a better deal on paper, but am I actually going to see that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
His rep was out by then. You know what I'm saying? So,
I got you. But just briefly, so your overall thoughts on one. Well, actually, let's back up a little bit. So again, we saw last week, and I know we talked in our private chat. We talked a bit about Bud's comments about the WBC, and I asked you the question: where's the lie? You know, I didn't see the lie. So your thoughts on his comments about the WBC and their practices, your comments on his retirement. Do you think it's the right time for him to do so? And thirdly, just on his legacy, where does he stand? You know, we talked about Mount Rushmore lists or whatnot. Can he make a case for being the GOAT? And you know, not I guess from a boxing, because I mean Ali will always have a place, but it's almost like Ali is bigger than boxing. You know what I mean? I mean, he was like a cultural figure. Bud never got that love like Ali did from anybody. But in terms of just pure sweet science, you know, so those three aspects. So WBC, his retirement, his legacy, where does he stand in boxing or whatnot? You have the floor, and you can take it wherever you want to go.
Well, in regards to what Crawford said about the sanctioning bodies, it wasn't just WBC, because you remember he said all the other sanctioning bodies were satisfied with the money that I gave them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you, the WBC, who wanted more money. Who are you to think that you deserve more than everybody else? You know, so he did pay them. He did pay a sanctioning fee, but they wanted more. It wasn't the amount that they wanted, so they stripped them for it. And the thing is, everybody in boxing knows that those sanctioning fees are robbery. You're literally just robbing people. You're just like, okay, cool, give me money now. Hey, Dante, give me $1,000. That's what the sanctioning bodies do. That's what sanctioning fees are. That's literally all it is. Because every time a champion goes into the ring, they have to pay a sanctioning fee. Every time they fight.
But
they pay a sanctioning fee. And here's the thing. Let me finish, and then I'll let you reply. Now, the sanctioning fee, you pay. Every time you go in there, you pay a sanctioning fee, right? What again? Bud's right. What's the sanctioning fee for? This is something that all boxers ask. Why am I paying you a sanctioning fee? Okay, what do I get for the sanctioning fee? You get the title. No, but I won the title. I won it in the ring. I fought for it, just like the other guy did. So again, what am I paying the sanctioning fee for? Well, he lied, of course. Said, okay, it's about it goes to helping retired boxers with their medical issues. No, it doesn't. There's no retired boxer who's going to tell you that they got anything from the WBC. In fact, they say all the time, these sanctioned bodies don't do anything for us. They don't pay us. No one's helping these guys with their medical bills. No one. They're on their own with that. So the lie that they tell that it's going to retired boxers, that's bullshit. It's a lie. They're not doing that. Okay, they'll say they are, and they may get on camera and say, hey, we got this foundation. They may have the foundation, but that ain't where the money's going. So every boxer knows the sanctioning fees. No, I'm paying you to carry your title. I'm paying you to carry your title, but I won and I became your champion through the ranking system. You see what I'm saying? So what's the money for? Again, in that whole thing, where was the lie? You find no boxer to disagree with him. But you got Oscar De La Hoya, who's been a company man for the past 20 years now. Okay, he agrees with it. You know, of course, my man Eddie Hearn from Matchroom agrees with it. And Queensberry and fucking, Top Rank, all of those, but they're in the politics of boxing. They get fees and kickbacks too. So the sanctioning bodies, this is what it is. You're just paying them. Okay, it's the same thing as Coach Ferg. You pay off your car, right, or your truck, whichever vehicle you have. Now, after you're done paying it off completely, okay, the dealership says, hey, give me $800 a month. For what? I'm telling you, what I'm saying? It's like, for what? So yeah, sanctioning fee. But I'm curious to hear what your comment is, Coach. Go ahead.
Just in my research of the sanctioning fee, right? Typically, they would charge. It's almost like an administrative fee for the belt, just the physical belt itself. And some of them was a couple of $100. You send in a couple $100, you get to carry the belt into your next fight. So that process, but the other fees could be associated through the promoters were supposed to pay. I don't think it's promoters paid. So they were coming after the money, and there's really no cap on what they can ask for. That's the bad part about it. So they was looking at him like, you pay it out your pocket. He like, no. And then they sort of took the belt. But I think it was even with Canelo, they said he paid what, $200 or $300 just for, but now you asking for thousands from him.
Hundreds of thousands from him.
After he beat your boxer, so it's just a bad game. Boxers has always been like it. And the promoters get scot-free with no retribution.
When he won, I told Mr. Bennett this. I think we spoke on the phone, Mr. Bennett. We were talking about, said Crawford messed up a lot of people's money. Mm-hmm. Like him beating Canelo was not a part of the plan. Like they had plans for Canelo. He had like another 5-fight deal with Turki Al-Sheikh, and Eddie Hearn was involved. Everybody was going to make money, off of Canelo because he's the face of boxing in the whole 9 yards, right? So Crawford beating him messed all that up because now Canelo falls down in the rankings. He's older now. He's 35. You know what I'm saying? Is he going to want to climb that ladder again and get those belts back? Mm-hmm. You're unsure where his head is because after you got millions in the bank, you know what I'm saying? All your bills are paid. You have no debt. And you have millions of it. Your family's taken care of. Coach Fred. It's like Marvin Hagler said. It's hard to get up and run at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're sleeping in silk sheets. You know what I'm saying? So they don't know where. So now they were. Turki Al-Sheikh was the first one to come to Crawford and actually talk to him about business and making some kind of deal. They take him further down the road. He was the first one, which tells me he's the smart one out of all of them. I get that you planned for Canelo to win. I don't know how you thought that. Because you're clearly not watching boxing if you thought Canelo was going to win that fight. How? You know what I'm saying? But, that's what my thoughts on it. Crawford is telling the absolute truth. As a former fighter myself, Crawford's telling the truth. I agree with him wholeheartedly, just like every other fighter. Mm-hmm. So, and what was the next one?
On his retirement. Your thoughts on him? Yeah.
I hate to see him go.
And do you think it's legit? Do you think could it be a leverage move to get Turki Al-Sheikh or someone to put him as an A side? Because again, he's never been the A side on any of these major fights, and all he's done is go in there and win convincingly. But for some reason, he never got the love from the promoters. He doesn't get the love even from the fans. I mean, unless you're the true boxing fan, he doesn't have crossover appeal. So my thing is this basically he's going to take a little time off, maybe 6 months or a year? Someone offers him $100 million. Could that draw him back in the ring, or do you think it's legit? But if it is a retirement, just your thoughts when you heard it.
My thoughts when I heard it, I didn't believe it, and I still don't. I don't think he wants to retire. However, even though because what he did was insane. Let's be honest about that. You're crazy to do it. Let's remember, okay, at 26 years old, Terrence Crawford was fighting at lightweight. Coach, you heard me? At 26 years old, this young man was fighting at lightweight. This man came up from lightweight, junior welterweight. So, you know what I'm saying? He went to 155, then up to 156. He became a champion in every single division, 3-time undisputed, and then beat your guy. And he went from lightweight all the way up to super middleweight and took your crown. Okay, you're not beating that. No one of this era is. You know what I'm saying? You're not. Okay, so he never got the love. That's an aesthetics thing. Okay, he's from Omaha, Nebraska, and promoters just didn't want to invest in him and promote him. They had other people like Eddie Hearn had AJ, the pretty boy, the big fat weightlifting bum.
Okay, here we go. Okay. I didn't even mention.
I'm not gonna go in on AJ right now. I am later because of the fight coming up in a couple of days. Okay, I'll go in there again on AJ later, okay? Now, he had AJ. Everyone had their guy, you know what I'm saying? PBC had Errol Spence, you know, and I like Spence. A legit fan of Spence. Thought he's brilliant. He wasn't going to beat Crawford, and you saw what happened. Crawford came in at full power and whipped his ass. Bad. He did him bad, coach. And that was supposed to be the dude to stop Crawford. But anyway, his retirement, I think that the boxing politics are still at him, looking at him like, hey, you still need to prove this and that. Prove? Prove what? Find me a fight. That's what you do. He's, in my opinion, and I'm sure we can find evidence of this, he is the most ducked fighter probably in boxing history.
Mm-hmm.
His whole way up the ladder and up those weight classes, especially at 147, that's where it really showed at welterweight. It really showed PBC kept their fighters away from him. They ran all their whole stable of fighters at PBC ran from him. He was so good that even Bob Arum, his own promoter, kept fighters away from him. Mm-hmm. Manny Pacquiao didn't want him, so he asked Bob Arum to keep him out of the fight, and Bob Arum agreed. And when they asked Bob Arum, why did you keep Crawford and Pacquiao from fighting, he said, I didn't want to see Manny get hurt. You know, he's the most duck fighter in history, and so that's why he doesn't get the love and promotion, because people didn't want to throw money behind him and market him, even though he would clear, like you said before, he would clearly. Amanda Leskio would clearly be $100 million draw every fight. Easily. He just needed the backing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's an aesthetics thing. He doesn't have the pretty boy look. He has the same problem Marvin Hagler had, if you remember that. Sugar Ray Leonard was the pretty boy, 7-Up, Boys and Girls Club, Wheaties, you know what I'm saying? All the endorsement deals. He had
he was mad. He was mad. He was box office. He was like,
he was box office, and they don't see Crawford as box office. They don't see him like that, because when you look outside the ring,
even Marvin Hagler, he has some commercials now. He had the Old Spice commercial. He had the pizza after he beat Tommy Hearns. He had the pizza commercial.
Exactly. It came later. You know what I'm saying? And he was.
It did, but I never no endorsement, like no cameos on TV, no commercials, no print media. I mean, nothing. Like, I don't know what the
Crawford did. Crawford had one cameo in a movie, and that was at one of those Creed movies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was one of those Creed movies or something like that, right? That was it. And he has an endorsement with Everlast. I know that. But he does
saying that's not mainstream. I'm saying no mainstream.
Yeah, that's true. Then I agree with that. He has no mainstream endorsements of things like that, which he deserves and he should have. But it's as simple as an aesthetics issue. And plus, Crawford is a person who is not going to just sit back and let you manage his career. He's like, he'll follow along for a while like he did with Bob Arum, because he thought Bob Arum had his back. But once he learned Bob Arum didn't have his interests at heart, he said, okay, Bob, cool. Then I'm not re-signing with Top Rank. And he didn't. And then Bob, the arrogant prick that he is, thought that Crawford didn't have the intellect to promote himself and make those fights happen. And he did, because he made that Spence fight happen on his own.
Right.
He and Errol Spence got together and made fight happen. You know what I'm saying? Even PBC didn't want Spence to do it. But they got together and they made it happen, because under the Muhammad Ali Act, they can. And they did. You know what I'm saying? And for that, you got to have nothing but respect for it, both him and Errol Spence on that alone. So it's a lot of boxing politics, and I don't think he wants to retire yet, but I think there's several things going on. There's too many people out there against him still. That explains the stripping of the belt, because they didn't have to do that. Okay, it's like Coach said, you charging Canelo a few $100, even if it's a few $1,000, cool. But you don't charge him a couple of $1,000, and then you charge Crawford $300,000. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, so there's too many bucks in politics, and plus, who's left? Left? He's whipped everybody's ass. He's cleared the board.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The only fight I would have loved to have seen, again, going back when he's at 147, I want to see him in boots. That's the only I'm not even going to call it a blemish, because Boots, I think, was an up-and-comer. Crawford, especially after he beat Spence. Boots was kind of on the rise, and because people were even saying then that that Crawford might have been ducking Boots. Now, again, I don't believe that necessarily, but that's the only, if I had to go back and say, okay, rewind 3 years ago, that fight I think should have happened. But Boots was going through his own promotional stuff. He had that old-time promoter. They were robbing him blind. I'm actually glad he's with Eddie Hearn. I think he's getting a lot more with Eddie Hearn than he was with that local family promoter or whatever, him and his wife or whatever. I think they mismanaged his career. So I'm glad he got out of that situation, because I think the wife was still, I think the guy died and his wife was trying to take over, but she didn't know anything about boxing. No. And so I'm glad he was able to get out, because he could have went another way with that and not have the success that he currently has. Hopefully he can get these fights set up with De La Hoya's guy and kind of get those things going. But I thought they were trying to stifle his career. But that's the only one I can think of. Is like, man, that's the only one I'm missing. But again, the fact that he went and dominated 168, I don't think it's as good of a matchup at this point than it would have been if it was 3 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, at this point, do you doubt who would win that fight? Like,
no, not now. Like I said, but like, at the time, I'm saying at the time.
3 years ago,
I'm saying at the time, that was like the fight to be made.
But man, even for me at the time, 3-4 years ago, even, there'd be no doubt. Like, even then, I'd be like, why fight Boots? Why would you want
Boots
that?
was excited. He was knocking out everybody.
But
he was like 28-0 with 26 knockouts. I mean, he was
done that to Crawford.
I don't know if he would have or not. I'm just saying, you have a very skilled boxer against a guy who's just demolishing everybody. It makes for it. I'm saying it's almost like when Marvin Hagler fought John the Beast Mugabe, right? Mugabe was knocking out everybody, and then him and Hagler had
Hagler was gonna lose that fight.
I don't, but I'm just saying. But for the fight, it was an exciting fight. And I know that Crawford generally is a slow starter. So I'm saying it could have very well happened. Boots might have got first couple rounds in, and then Crawford adjusts and he, figures out the matrix, and then he takes him out. I'm not saying that wouldn't have happened, but I'm just saying that was a fight I would have liked to have seen. But if there was any, like I said, blemish, if you want to call it that, that's one of those fights where you wish you want to go back, just like Lennox Lewis should have fought Riddick Bowe. That should have happened. And we were robbed, and that took the heavyweight division back 20 years because that fight didn't happen.
Yeah, there's two people who Riddick Bowe should have fought. That's Tyson and Lennox. Bowe, because that would have been a tough fight. Those would have been good fights, both of them. Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson versus Riddick Bowe. Because Bowe and what's his name? That asshole, Evander.
Jeez.
I love Evander Holyfield. I do. I love Evander Holyfield, but I hate him at the same time. You beat Tyson, dude. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he and Evander had some wars in the ring, man. And those are some really good fights, all of them, And Riddick Bowe is a force to be reckoned with, all kidding aside. And I agree with you. But for me, Boots, for Crawford, I'm like, I get it. At the time, Boots was hot shit, really good record. But at the same time, I knew what Crawford was then. Like Crawford was on my radar a little bit earlier on in his career. I'd say about 2010, he came on my radar. But when I knew for a fact he was the next big thing was 2014 when he beat Gamboa. And it was the way he beat Gamboa. Like, that's when I knew. I was like, yep, no one's beating him.
Yeah.
I knew then in 2014 that is the guy of this era.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
I think for me is when he beat the British guy. I forget his name. Black British guy. He beat. I think he might have. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, hurt his orbital bone.
He threw, Crawford threw some weird punch no one's ever seen before.
Yeah, that's when I knew. Okay, yeah, this guy's legit. But again, he got no love from Aaron. So to me, he's the most marked. Again, no scandals, no arrests, no. I mean, you got Devontae Davis, who's still a popular fighter. I mean, he's a box office, but he can't stay off of D. He got DB charges every other month. You're hearing something about him.
Exactly,
and he still sells out. So again, I don't get. To me, he's an enigma. He's like if Hagler was again, also ostracized. It's like it's double for Crawford, and I just don't understand. I'm thinking maybe it's his family, because again, the woman that he's with is
She's
not
not
some
cover girl,
Instagram
supermodel.
model cover girl or whatever. I don't know, but it's just
they're just actually
They're like he's just a regular guy. So he's just a regular guy from Omaha, Nebraska.
Exactly.
And nobody wants to, and maybe that's it.
That's it.
But I'm saying, but it's to me, it's two pronged.
From Omaha, Nebraska. They regular black people.
I'm saying, but it's two pronged for me. It's like I said, it's the promoters is one end, but I'm saying the fans. Like, why doesn't he's like your neighbor down the street?
And that's the problem. He's a married guy. He's a family guy. Most of the boxers that they want to promote all over the place are guys running rampant in the streets, buck wild.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, and I would say that Mayweather made that a thing, like being flashy, and like I know as a younger man, that really drew to me. Like, oh, Mayweather, he this, he that. And like being older, it's just like, yeah, I could totally respect him. He goes,
Dante,
he knocks people out, and he goes home.
It started long before Mayweather, brother.
Yeah,
it started long before.
Before Mayweather did take, Tyson was doing the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Tyson with the standings.
Yeah.
But again, when you saw him on ESPN coming up, I mean, the guy came from home when he was fighting in Troy, New York, and all those venues before he got like big, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He drew. It was like heavy. Like Tyson, he was the talk of the lunchroom because we were in the lunchroom the next day. He would be the topic of conversation when he was like 10-0, 12-0. Oh, he knocked another guy in the first round. There was a buzz
at that time.
About once a month.
There was a buzz, but I just don't understand. But we talk about arguably the greatest fighter of all time. Maybe not the biggest celebrity, maybe not the biggest influence or what have you, but fighting wise, but again, even then, love from anybody, from the fan base, from the Gen Pop fan base, nor the promoters. And that'll to me will be an enigma for a while, even after this fight. Like, will black people really clamor for any time he fights? Will that be a base that's really driven? I don't know. I mean, I think people were certainly happy that he beat Canelo, especially because Canelo was hanging on, had a chokehold, a stranglehold on that division for so long. But it had to take his last fight for him to do so. Is just something. The
thing is, like you said, it goes to show that promoters don't really know what they're doing. They want you. The thing is, because you said something, right? You said there's no scandals, and Coach said something else earlier that alludes to it. Because I was about to say, Coach is spot on right there. Because he doesn't have any scandals, what do the promoters have to hold over his head? Nothing. So if you got nothing to hold over his head, what can you say or do to control him? Yeah. You got nothing. You know what I'm saying?
No leverage.
Like Coach said, he's married. He no outside kids. There's no scandals there. You know what I'm saying? No
he's got a lot of kids. We're talking about Phillip Rivers. How many kids he got? Like 7, 8?
I don't know.
Phillip Rivers got quite a few, but he's married.
He's married, right?
I'm just saying, but again, his girl be coming out with that blue hair. You know what I
mean? They can do that. We criticize.
I'm just saying
they can do that.
Last point, because we're winding now. We got 2 more topics to cover in the reigning, but I really want to get manager to the 4. So we talked about again the WBC comments. We talked about his retirement legacy, right? Where is he going to fall legacy wise? Is he on your Mount Rushmore of boxing at this point? You know, how will he be assuming this is his last fight? How will he be remembered in your eyes?
In my eyes, he is definitely on the Mount Rushmore. He is the epitome, the perfect example of a guy who earned everything he got in boxing. Like everyone's saying, okay, he beat this marquee fighter. Okay, but he can't beat that person. Crawford fights him. Not only is he beating these people, he's destroying them. Just taking them to college. You know what I'm saying? When he gets in the ring, he's so good that he makes the other people, and they are good fighters too. But Crawford is so good that he makes them look like they suck. When in actuality, like Spence could have beaten anyone else in the welterweight division. Spence really was the guy, but against Crawford, he was nothing. But that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? But Spence could have beaten anyone else because Spence is a fantastic fighter. But and that's him. Is he on my Mount Rushmore? Absolutely. To me, he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. Skill, timing, the whole 9 yards, man. He has everything. He has the goods. And for those of you retards who thinks he could actually who thinks that Mayweather could beat him, no, it'd be the same thing. It'd be the same. It'd be the certain result would be the same. He beat Mayweather too, you know. But yeah, he's on my Mount Rushmore, definitely.
Gotcha.
Crawford.
All right. Unfortunately,
his legacy. How would he be remembered by everybody else? Everyone else, when he beat Canelo, he shut everyone up. That's the thing. Like, you can't say anything about him now. You can't say anything. Well, he couldn't be this person or that person. You can't say that now.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing with Usyk. I didn't want Usyk to be the best heavyweight, but he is. I got no choice. You know what I'm saying? After he beat AJ the second time, that's when my doubt in Usyk left. Mm-hmm. I was happy as a kid on Christmas when he beat AJ them 2 times. I was tap dancing. But he's run through.
All right, well, speaking of that, that's an interesting segue. We got to go here. Black Man's been on me all night, and he's been asking the question all night. So obviously, we have an upcoming fight: Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua in a fight. And I'm using that term very loosely here, but. I don't even like asking the question who you got. Anybody can chime in on this. My thing is I don't know if this fight is legit. To be totally honest with you, I think the Tyson fight was fixed. I just don't see this being and if this is where boxing's going, then again I want no part of it. But if AJ doesn't take him out within 2 rounds, it's fixed. And I mean, take out. He should knock him out. The way he knocked out Ngannou is the way he should knock out Paul. If it goes beyond 2 rounds, it's just not worth it. But what's your thoughts on this coming up? And then there was another question he had. I think is a good one. We talk about the Paul brothers, and I got to admit, I mean, their influence is powerful in boxing at this point. If Paul offered Crawford $50 million, you think that would you watch it, and you think that will pull Crawford out for $50 million to take on Jake Paul? So your thoughts on the upcoming fight, and could that be something that could entice Crawford to come out and fight Paul?
It's not like he needs the money. At this point, you know what I'm saying?
Anybody can use $50 million, bro. So,
yeah, that's true. But I mean, would he come out for that? I don't know. I doubt it. I think he's got other things going on. That's the only reason why he retired now. But at the same time, like I said, it's boxing politics. A combination of boxing politics plus who's left to fight. You beat everybody. But this fight with AJ and Jake Paul. Listen, if the bell rings to go into the third, to go into the 4th round, meaning we've had 3 rounds of boxing completed, and Paul ain't sleep yet. Oh, I agree with you. This fight's fixed. There's no way. And I told you that will prove it. Will it finally prove it to you, Mr. Bennett? If Paul makes it 3 fucking rounds against AJ, that AJ's a bum.
Listen, having said that, if he puts him to sleep in 2 rounds, he'll be doing a service to the sport. So again, AJ, I'll never have another bad word to say about AJ if he does that. All right. So again, that's how much as you despise Anthony Joshua, I despise the Paul brothers. So
I do too.
So
Dante,
what's your thoughts on this coming fight? What do you?
I feel like as a non-hardcore, like as a casual boxing fan, I like the real stuff. I don't want to support the fake. I want to come around and man, this guy's a poser. Just like I feel you're a poser if you come around talking certain stuff about football or basketball, and I'm like, man, get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. So I don't want to see it, but I can't stand the guy. So yes, I would love Anthony Joshua to just knock him out. I want it to be knock him out in 30 seconds, just ugly. Because I can watch I cannot watch the fight, but I'll watch the hell out of that replay. I can't stand the dude. I remember he was like talking crap. He was on when Bomani had the show on HBO. He was like talking crap to the guy, and it was just like he was just like, what do you like? And like Bomani was a pro, so he's like, you're not gonna upstage me. I know you're fighting the fight, but I'm going to pick at you. And anytime you lose or not successful, I'm going to pick at you. So I would love for that for him to be like, oh look, oh you're not doing so well now. Look at you get knocked the hell out. I would love to see that. But Bud, my thing is, if he went in and I got love and respect for him, I would say I wasn't gonna watch. But the day before or the day of, I'm like, I'm gonna order the damn fight. I would get suckered in just because I don't like him so much. But that's why he sells so much. That's why I try my best not to go into it.
Hang on. The temptation is if it's free on Netflix, you watching it.
If it's free on Netflix,
I'm telling you right now, I'm so anti whatever. Even if it's free on Netflix, I'm torn. I don't know if I can bring myself to watch it. Again,
I'm with you because I want the real authentic, like we talked about last week. I don't like Dana White about boxing because he's over here with these. Well, I gotta watch how I say it with these type of if I say a certain person's name, everybody gonna go and think a different way. With these bad contracts and paying these guys pennies, he's gonna try to bring that to boxing. When whatever you say about boxing, as far as it is, the guys at the top make the big money, and there's money to be made. I don't want him messing that up. And so between him in there and Paul in there, I wish somebody could just come in and just purify boxing and get it back and get the game. You know, there's so many networks and so many things. You can get the boxing and the fights out there. We don't have to deal with this garbage. I hated that this stuff ever started.
Yeah, okay. Jake said his next fight. He wants Joshua Wilder, Crawford, and Canelo in 2026. This interview he did with FanDuel. Yeah, whatever. Coach, your thoughts on, I guess, this upcoming exhibition. All right, I'm just gonna say that. I don't want to disrespect boxing by even calling it a fight or whatever. This exhibition that's coming up. Or who you got here? Any thoughts that you have on this context?
So real quick, man, if we put Crawford on the Mount Rushmore, right, he's going to be facing the way Lincoln is facing. He's going to be on the other side looking at the other three. But it's all a money play right now, man. You know, Paul, they're going to let him make his money, man. There's no way he should be in the ring with some of the top-ranked boxers. But then you won't even put together the top-ranked boxers at least twice a year to put on the best show where you know it's going to make money. So it's just sad that they now, you know, watered down boxing to, you know, a social media play, pretty much. Somebody who made his way through social media, and you're getting some of the prime boxers to fight exhibitions, making what they making 20, 30 million a fight. You know what I'm saying? For how many rounds? You know, so it's just, I don't know, man. I think if Crawford does retire, you see how all the other boxers have now gotten a little older and they haven't really bought. You know, even Devontae Davis, they sort of trying to put slowly, but take him out of the mix. You'll be watching Jake Paul's coming up. You know, that'll be the pay-per-view that they'll be trying to sell y'all. But me, I ain't paying for it ever. Watch you know, not that type of. Maybe two top ranks that earned it, but no, they can keep it. It'll be on ESPN, but it's unfortunate that this is where boxing is.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's get on out of here, guys. Final thoughts for tonight. First of all, I want to thank Mandrell for coming up, as always, sharing your boxing wisdom and whatnot, and being a part of the conversation. Any final thoughts? I'll give you the floor. Anything you working on, anything you want to promote, you know, what you're into now, what are you doing? Miss you kind of out here in the YouTube spaces. So what's going on with you, man?
Nothing to promote yet. Working on something though. But, and I'll announce that when it's time, I guess. But is Crawford on the Mount Rushmore? Yes. Skill for skill, pound for pound. Yeah. Pound for pound. You know, Mount Rushmore, greats of all time. Yes, it's undeniable now. Like, no one clears the board like that and then just gets denied because no one does anything that insane.
Mm-hmm.
From lightweight to super middleweight, you were world champion in every weight class that you were in, and you were 3-time undisputed. Who's done that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and he now, like I said, with his win over Canelo, the convincing win over Canelo, he shut everybody up.
Mm-hmm.
All the people who doubted him, all the fans who doubted him, everyone was quiet because you can't say that. Everyone's like, "Oh shit." Yeah, even the
That is
judges
true.
who got to take it.
I can't listen. I can't debate the guy's business acumen. I can't. But as far as masters of social media, they are like 8th degree Dan in terms of marketing, in terms of using social media, building a brand. I got no issue with that.
That's true, but he's no fighter.
Yeah.
That still don't make you a fighter. You made your money. Congratulations, dude. That's cool and all, but you're still not a fighter. You lost to Tommy Fury. Yeah, but yeah, that's my thing. Shout out to boxing. Who's going to be the new face of boxing? I don't know. Crawford took it from everybody. He just took it. And that's the way he had to do it because no one would give it to him. No one would help him out. None of that. So he did what Black excellence does. You do it in spite of them. You know what I mean? You force them to with your mastery and your intellect. So that's one thing. I think his legacy will be one for the ages. You can't have a conversation about who's the greatest of all time without having him in it. Whatever your Mount Rushmore is, you still have to at least mention him or consider him. But I like the old school guys too, like you and Coach does. I mean, like I said, I know the Marvin Hagler's family personally. You know what I mean? Still to this day. So, and shout out to him. Shout out to the GOAT, R.I.P. But yeah, I'm more of an old school guy myself, but I still got to put Crawford up there too.
I got you. Dante, do you want to at this time? We never got to your list, but do you want to maybe make that your closing thought? If you have
okay, I can make them my final thought. Also, got to say, like you said, the colors don't run. Shout out to my Panthers. We were up 21-0 at halftime. I just knew it was in the bag. Ended up losing it in quadruple overtime. I know it was a controversial call, but I'm a guy that look at the call, look what happened before that call, and look what happened after that call to see what happens. We did get an interception in second overtime and double overtime and played for a field goal. And my thing is, you do not leave the game in the hands of kickers. You go out and be aggressive, go score a touchdown like we've done all year. But I feel like we'll be back next year. But what I'll say real quickly, as far as my top 10, I know it's controversial, and I know I don't really want to have an order in it. The only one I want to have an order, and I won't go through all the stats. I put Kyler Murray number 1 as 42-0, 3 state championships. That's an amazing feat. That's why the whole thing of him not losing at Texas Stadium. I also say just off of pure talent and when I got me into following recruiting and how good guys was, Vince Young, seeing this 6'5", 200-something pound guy just come out, that's my 2. He had nearly 13,000 total yards in high school. Then those are my top 2. And everybody else you could kind of move around. I'll have Drew Brees out of Austin Westlake, phenomenal player, prolific in the era where all the size matters. So a Texas school didn't pick him up. I'll say Chase Daniel from a South Lake Carroll was a power, was one of probably, I would say, maybe they're one of their best quarterbacks they've ever had. I'll put on the list, obviously, quarterback recently. I'll put 2 guys here from North Crowley High School. Chris Jemison Jr., his senior season, he had 3,700 yards passing, 58 total touchdowns, 16-0, and went through a powerhouse in DeSoto, a powerhouse in the state semifinal in Duncanville, and state power in the state game in Austin Westlake, and in the other games as well. Just phenomenal record in a tough ring. And then I see Keelan Russell, the guy he beat in the state semifinal. His final year, he was the Max Preps All-American, 55 touchdowns, only 4 picks, 4,100 yards. He was a guy, and I'm like, okay, you want to see why the guy's a 5-star? I'm seeing back shoulder fades. I'm seeing dart throws. And literally, they had to use their best linebacker to spy him the whole game. When they didn't, he took off and ran, and they double-teamed the star receiver from Duncanville. The one time they didn't, 60-yard bomb. Just beautiful. Alabama has a great future because he is at Alabama. I forgot about it. Robert Griffin III is on my list. Robert Griffin III is on my list. I forgot about those 06 and 07 championships. And RG3 was a track athlete of the year. He was amazing in high school. Another one, got to have Mahomes on there for all the talent. His senior year, he was all district in basketball, baseball, and football, and they were a state contender for him. Matthew Stafford had an amazing high school career, over 9,000 yards, 94 touchdowns, culminated with a state title. And another guy I'll put on here as well. It's debatable. You could say maybe Andrew Luck, but for the championship, Riley Dodge played. Didn't go to the higher level. I want to say Riley Dodge is the son of a coach. Todd Dodge took over, came and coached after his dad was at South Lake Carroll. He won a championship in 2005, 2006, 2007. Over 100 touchdowns, over 8,000 yards passing. And like a lot of these guys, I was able either to see. A lot of them I played while they were playing, so I saw their games on television. I was able to see Russell live and Chris Jefferson live. But like, just those are some of like the top 10. You could have a debate, but those are some of the best I've ever either seen on television or seen live.
Awesome. Yeah, make sure send me that list. Might want to post that either in a short or something later on. I would love to get that. So share that in the back chat, and we'll see about maybe getting me to post that as a link. But I would love to see that referenced. Coach, I'll give you the last word to close out the show.
Oh, I was on mute. No, man, great show, man. Salute to the boxers of the world, man. Hopefully Crawford don't retire, man. He's just in his feelings right now. Take a vacation with your family, come back in the spring and knock somebody else out. No, man, let's get ready for these 3 weeks of football. Everybody's playoff contention is on the line. So you better hope everybody's healthy and everybody's playing their best ball. If not, just get you some popcorn and watch the rest of the playoffs and don't be cursing out your team. And salute to all the players who are on injury, man. Speedy recovery, man. Salute.
Absolutely. Well, again, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Certainly, again, I know our guy, but listen, I'm looking forward to this for real. When you get this going, you're going to be covering both LSU football and hockey from the Black perspective. I will be subscribing to that, and I would love to certainly support you in that. And it's time that you certainly, bring that platform certainly to YouTube. I would love to get behind that, and we'll promote the heck out of it once you get it going. So again, Anton, let us know when that drops, and we'll definitely would love to be part of the show and backing you up there. But it's about time you enter the space, because I think your voice is valuable. But certainly for everybody else, again, just make sure you hit the like button certainly as you leave the show tonight. Again, we appreciate you guys. Enjoy the football. Again, the game tomorrow night. Again, that could be the highest rated ever on Thursday night. The Friday college football games, the Saturday college football games, Saturday NFL, Sunday NFL, lots of to talk about, and certainly we'll be all reviewing that, recapping it next week. There
championship games here in Texas.
Yes, sir. Man. And again, that when is that Jake Paul fight? Is this weekend, isn't it? Friday. So again, if there's anything interesting to talk about, Mandrill, I may have you come back if you're available.
Listen, man,
if there's something to talk about.
I can talk football with you, okay? It's just when basketball season comes,
I know that's a girl.
I gotta go. We know.
We understand.
I can talk football. I can talk NFL. I can talk college.
All right, so we'll look to bring you back into the mix as well. But for everybody else, again, thank you for being with us. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. Good night.